I am in the student loan debt trap. That's the message that I got today. And so somebody sent me a Black Wealth confession and basically said they're in the student loan debt trap and they want to figure out how to get out of it so they can buy a house. Well, I'm going to talk to you about that a little bit and break this down for you. So get comfortable, buckle up your seatbelt. We're going to get started on the Black Financial Channel right now. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Black Financial Channel. That's theblackfinancialchannel.com. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I am your friendly neighborhood finance professor. On the Black Financial Channel, we talk about Black wealth and Black economics every single day, sometimes as much as 10 times a day. The condition that I ask is that you understand that I am a Black man who happens to be a finance professor. I'm not a finance professor who happens to be Black. So Blackness is important for me. That is through the lens through which I see everything. That's how I want to dedicate my PhD. And so that's why we're here. We talk about Black wealth on this platform. No other wealth matters to me, if you want my opinion. So hello, everybody. Damar and Deborah and Tasha and Karen. I'm not going to be here for too long. I got some stuff I got to do. Today's a Saturday, so I want to make sure I act like at least a partially normal human being today. I got this a Black Wealth confession, and some of you send me confessions. You can actually go to blackwealthconfessions.com where you can tell your story, talk about either your trouble or talk about your success or whatever it is so that other people can learn from it. You can do it anonymously. And blackwealthconfessions.com is where you can submit. So the Black Wealth confession I got today is someone who says, I'm in my 50s, student loan debt at 80,000, which I do not understand how it got so high. I went to high school for only 2 years. To school for only 2 years. But due to layoffs, could never get ahead for years. Lots of different payment plans that I could not keep up. I have a good job now making 80K base and have a nice 401k. Current loan postponed to November 2021 due to COVID. I want to buy a house, but due to the student loan debt, I'm concerned my debt to income ratio will prevent this. Any advice is greatly appreciated. All right. Well, thank you very much for your honesty. Student loans are a big problem for a lot of people. You're not the only one. There are millions of people who are stuck in student loan debt. Student loans are kind of that's the big trap. You know, rappers rap about the trap, but everybody's got a trap that you're trying to get out of where you're trying to level up. And these level up conversations require you to step outside of yourself or at least step outside of your trap. So the student loan trap is a big one. A lot of people went to college thinking that if you go to college and get a piece of paper by giving some white guy, $100,000 of your money, that some other white guy was going to give you a great job and help you pay all that debt back. And that just doesn't work because white people don't like you. But then again, maybe I sound like a pessimist, but prove me wrong. Show me data that says that anybody loves you other than your mama. So with that being said, here's the deal. Here's what I would say. First of all, 80K in student loans is not insurmountable. I've seen people I saw a young lady that had $500,000 in student loans and was making less than $100,000 a year. I said, how did you get to $500,000 in student loans? If you go that deep, you hit what they call the point of no return. Like that's financially gangster. Like you have literally you jumped into the life so deep that the only way you can leave that life is in a casket. Like you are literally extra deep. You are in too deep on that student loan thing. And at that point, you got to finish your degree. You can't get like half of a med school degree or half of a law degree and expect to pay back $300,000 or $500,000 in student loans. That's a tough situation. That's difficult. And thanks to your buddies, like Joe Biden and stuff like that. Biden was the guy who pushed through the bill that basically does not allow you to declare bankruptcy on your student loans. He did that not because he was doing it for the people. There are no people out here who demanded that their congressmen make it illegal to declare bankruptcy on student loans. He did it for the banks. He did it because he was out of Delaware, and Delaware is a place where a lot of corporations are incorporated. And they said, look, we're tired of people getting all this debt and not paying it back. So the banks put pressure on him. They funded his campaign and said, if we fund you, we need you to put this law in place so that people will be forced to pay us back. That's what it is. That's the history of it all. Now, with that said, but good luck voting for Joe Biden next time. I wish you all the very best. I won't be there with you. So here's the deal. When you're talking about student loan debt, 80K is not that much money. It looks like you're doing better. I congratulate you on that. I wouldn't be embarrassed. Let go of your financial shame. A lot of people make mistakes like this. A lot of people, the reason that people make mistakes financially is because we never talk about finances in our house. We never learn this stuff. You go to school, you go to public school, they teach you everything except how to manage your money. They teach you everything except how to build wealth. They teach you everything except how to be financially responsible. But, they teach you all this other stuff, like, how to use the right pronouns when you're talking about somebody's gender and all these other things that I think should be taught after you teach people how to survive. So the 80K is not that bad. You're doing better financially. I think that's great. You'd be amazed at how understanding realtors and banks can be when it comes to student loan debt. My view is that they don't look at student loan debt the same way they look at other kinds of debt, right? I think they understand that you have a financial virus that has taken out millions of people, almost damn near taking them out of the economic game altogether, because because the student loan crisis is so bad. It's not supposed to cost you $200,000 to get a bachelor's degree. Ain't too many bachelor's degrees worth 200 grand. There are now programs you can do online. They cost you just a few $100. You go to the Black Business School for a few $100 investment. We can give you probably something better than you get in college, because we specialize in teaching wealth to Black people. We don't teach anyone else. And so ultimately, you've got a lot of options out here for you and your family that go beyond just, let's go to college and let's give them $250,000 of our family wealth so that our kids can die broke, right? That's not called progress. That's not moving forward, right? That's, integration makes you feel like if you are accepted in society, you're doing better. Well, no, I don't need you to accept me. I want to hold on to my money. Accept me after I make sure my family's good financially. That's what matters to me. So I would say to you, if you're trying to overcome this, first of all, don't write yourself out of the game before you try. A lot of times we won't do stuff like fill out that mortgage application or whatever, because we think, oh, well, they're not going to approve me anyway. They'll never give me this loan. They'll never give me this money. Well, you don't know. You really don't know. You don't know what the rest of the applicant pool looks like. They have most lenders out here, most realtors, because they want you to buy a house. They can guide you in the right direction, and I would tell you that if you don't feel like you are where you want to be, that's okay. Just at least commit yourself to going in the right direction. Maybe taking a class on real estate so you can learn the little tricks that are out there, or the little opportunities that are out there for you to actually get the money that you need to buy that first home. Maybe that's a pathway for you. Maybe you can read a book on real estate, on how to buy a home and what the home buying process looks like. Learning doesn't cost you a nickel. It just costs you. You just have to pay attention. You don't have to pay money, but you got to pay attention. Maybe you apply and then you get rejected and let them tell you, okay, if you fix this and fix this, we can get you in a position where you need to be. Maybe it means you need to lower your standard of living a little bit, get you a house that doesn't cost as much as the house you can afford. So you can afford a house with a mortgage payment of $2,500, but maybe you get a house with a mortgage payment of $1,200 so you can build some equity and actually just get in the real estate game somehow, right? Get you that house that maybe doesn't cost as much, but it's going to get you started in that game. Maybe move to a different city. I've seen people do that. A lot of my friends in New York and the Bay Area, where everything's super expensive, I've seen them leave the Bay Area and leave New York to go to places like Atlanta or Ohio or something, where the cost of buying a home is not insanely high, right? So that might be a thing. Geography might matter. But let me tell you a little secret too. This is a little thing that don't nobody talk to you about this. People that talk to you about wealth don't explain this part to you. Economics is pretty much a team sport. Economics is better played as a team. I play Call of Duty on Xbox, and it's like a war game where you go out into this place called the War Zone, and you're just fighting and shooting all these other people. And I play with a bunch of guys that are about my age, and we just love it. It's so much fun. Well, let me tell you about this game. Well, the interesting thing about this game is that skill does not matter as much as teamwork. That if you have good teamwork, you can beat a skilled player any day of the week, because there are four of you against one of him. So he might be the greatest player ever, but if there are four of you against one of him, who do you think is going to win? It's going to be us four, not that one guy, right? So the same thing is true when it comes to wealth. People talk to you about wealth as if it's a one-off thing. There's a lot of look at me, look at how much money I got, look at how much paper I'm making, look at what I did. I, me, me, I. You sound like a narcissist. Stop that. The I's need to be replaced with we's. Wealth is best built through teams and families, just like football. You can have the best player in the world, but if you do not have an entire team, you cannot win the game. You can have the best player on the planet, but if you do not have a team, you will lose. So ultimately, when you think about a team sport, That's where things like family come into play. That's where joining clubs and investment clubs and groups comes into play, where you can bounce ideas off each other and help each other out. That's also where things like marriage and family come into play. I'm not telling everybody out here to get married. Marriage is not easy. It's tough. It takes a lot of work. But part of the reason that it's worth the work is because marriage is in itself, having a healthy family in itself, the skill that it takes to maintain your family in itself is a wealth building strategy. Because the better I can get along with my teammate, who is my wife, the more property we can acquire together. Do you know that we bought several properties since we got married? Do you know what it's like to be able to go out to dinner and not even have to worry about paying the bill because you know that your wife got it if you forgot your credit card? Do you know what it means to know that you can go anywhere in the world and do whatever you want to do because you're doing well and she's doing well and y'all both doing even better together? Do you understand? Do you know what it means to have a smart person next to you where you can bounce ideas off them and they can come to you with their problems, you come to them with yours, and you figure things out, right? It's not easy, right? Team stuff is tough, right? We're traumatized. You know, relationships are hard. I get that, right? We all go through that. I don't care who you are. Everybody does. But I will just tell you that people don't understand that even maintaining your relationships with other people or maintaining the relationship with that woman or that man next to you, that is also a wealth building strategy. Because I could tell you like this, I bet you this brother out here, let's say this brother is single. I don't know if he's single or married, but he didn't mention a spouse. He didn't mention anything about wife and kids and nothing like that. But imagine if he got together with a black woman who also had a similar issue, but also made 80K a year. Well, now suddenly y'all got 160K a year to work with, and two brains solving the same problem together. She's coming not just with herself, she's coming with family members that have ideas and resources that she can bring to the table. When my wife married me, I had resources. I know people. I have family that she can talk to. She has family. She knows people. That we help each other out. That's what a team sport kind of looks like. And so I encourage you to consider this. Some of you already know this. Some of you are already in families and in marriage and all that. And if you are, then what I would encourage you to do is think about investing in family or investing in those relationships as part of your broader investment strategy. The more I get along with you, the more I communicate with you, the more I have your back, the more I build trust, not a wall, but a bridge of trust with you, the more we can get together and team up and kick everybody's ass together, right? There's nothing more fun than to have somebody in your team or a relative or whatever that you can trust, you can depend on, that has your back, where you could just go to battle together. My brother does that with me. My brother and I have been working together for 15 years, and there's no way on this earth, I guarantee you that if it wasn't for my brother, you would never have heard of me ever. I wouldn't even be who I am. I'd be some guy sitting at some raggedy university trying to get whatever job I could get because I'm too black to work for white people. So white people didn't like me having me around. I'm smarter than them, which probably pissed them off even more. So think in terms of teamwork. That's how you overcome these problems. Don't feel ashamed of the student loan issue. It affects everybody. Just don't pass that generational curse on to the kids. Prepare your kids. Keep the cost of college down. You know, that's one of the things, my wife and I could probably afford to send our son to a lot of schools. There are a lot of universities and institutions out here that we could probably afford to send him to, but we weren't interested in doing any of that because we're both college professors and we know that college has tremendous value. It really does, especially in the right context, but it only has a certain amount, right? It doesn't have value that exceeds the value that it actually has. So when he went to the University of Louisville, we picked that school because he's going to get a quality education, have a great college experience, and we weren't going to be breaking the bank trying to dump all this money into the hands of white people so that he could be validated by them. No, you get validated by me, goddammit. Like, I'm the one, me and your mother validate you as a thinker, as a scholar. We're professors, we're smart, right? And also by transitivity, you all know guys like me. So we have the right and the ability to crown our kids. We are the ones who validate them. We are the ones who license them to go out into the world and to be successful. We are the ones who tell them that they are worthy. I'm not looking to that man to do any of that for me. None of that. He don't need none of that from them, right? He gets that from us. We got it. We got this. But we are glad he went to college because college is fun and it's a great experience. And I feel bad for people that had to miss that whole 4 years because it's really a great time. But that's not what's going to make you rich. That's not what's going to make you a millionaire. The last piece I'll throw into this brother's question. And by the way, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. Also, blackwealthconfessions.com. If you want to leave a confession, you feel free to do that. I get to them whenever I can. I put them up on the blackfinancialchannel.com. And also, I'm doing this event on the 23rd with Jay Morrison called Secrets of the 1%. Jay Morrison's the brother that runs the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. He raised about $11 million doing this, which was super impressive. Nobody's done this since Marcus Garvey. And we're literally doing a free event on how he does it, how he leverages capital and how he thinks. So if you're interested in coming to that event, I'm going to join him. He built the Black House in Atlanta, which is a beautiful place. My wife and I have an office there and we love it. And I encourage you to go take a look if you are in the Atlanta area. And so you can go to secretsoftheone%.com, or if you're watching on Instagram, the link is in the bio. So if you go into my bio, you can actually see the link to that event, as well as all the other stuff that we have. And that will be also on boycewatkins.com. Okay, guys, so let me give you the last point. So I was reading this brother's question in case you came in late. I'll read the question one more time, and then I'm going to throw one more angle in terms of how he could solve this problem, in my view. He says, I'm in my 50s, student loan debt 80K, which I do not understand how it got so high. I went to school for only 2 years, but due to layoffs, could never get ahead for years. Lots of different payment plans that I could not keep up. I have a good job now, making 80K base and a nice 401k. Current loan postponed to November 2021 due to COVID. I want to buy a house, but due to student loan debt, I'm concerned that my debt to income ratio will prevent this. Any advice is greatly appreciated. So we mentioned a couple things so far. We mentioned one, that you don't know what they're going to approve you for, right? You should try anyway, in my view. Pay your bills on time. That's the number one factor in keeping your credit score as high as possible. So a lot of lenders are able to look past student loans. They don't consider student loan debt to be the same as regular debt. Number two, we talked about things like family. These are the things that are off the grid when it comes to the wealth conversation. People don't talk about family enough because you got so many crazy traumatized people out here in our community, all of us, myself included, perhaps, who think you can cut everybody off and cut off loved ones and have your life still be normal. No, cutting off your loved ones is like cutting off your limbs. You're cutting off your teammates. You're cutting off your allies. Dr. Laura Essel Turner, I believe that's her name, Laura Essel Turner, who's a professor at Stanford, who's on Fly Nubian Queen TV. If you go to flynubianqueentv.com, Dr. Laura Essel Turner, I hope I said her name correct, just did a video about that. She's a psychiatrist, or she's in the psychiatry department at Stanford. And she explained that you need to stop bragging about how many people you cut off this year and how you getting rid of all your relatives because they toxic and how you going to do it all by yourself and you don't need nobody's help. That's nonsense. That's not how you succeed. What you do is you go get some therapy, you work through your trauma, and you learn how to connect with other people without constantly being re-triggered to the point where you're ready to cut off your own damn limbs and trying to run a race. You cutting off your legs thinking you're going to run the 100-meter dash. You can't run the 100-meter dash without no legs. I'm sorry. So your family, those are your limbs, those are your legs. So stop cutting things off and start adding things on. So anyway, that's the last piece I would say in response to this brother's question about the student loan debt and how to deal with all that and everything else is think of it like football. Think of it like a football game where you are down by, 5 touchdowns. Imagine a football game where you're down by 35 points. Well, somebody might say, man, we got to play better defense. They keep scoring points on us, right? We need better defense, right? We need to stop them from scoring so much. Sure, I agree. That's important. But better defense is not going to get you out of this situation, right? You need better defense, but you also need offense. You need offense probably as much or more than you need defense. So think of your income as your offense. Your offense, if you have a higher income, all problems go away. Not all, but a lot of financial problems go away if you simply find ways to increase your income. It is much harder to obtain financial freedom making $40,000 a year than it is making $80,000 a year, right? Do you agree? Give me a yes in the chat if you understand where I'm going with this, if you understand what I'm saying. So if you make twice as much money, if you can increase your income, then what happens is things that were expensive suddenly become cheap. Things that were hard suddenly become easy. The things that you couldn't do before, things that were impossible suddenly become possible because you now have more money to work with. That's where things like family come in. You marry a great woman or a great man and they have income, and then you pile your money together, then suddenly you can make moves that you couldn't make before. Or another thing you could do is you can go marry a side hustle. You go find somebody or find some situation or look for an opportunity, take a class, whatever, listen to a podcast, whatever it is that teaches you how to create side hustles. In the Black Business School, we had a class, our Black Money 103, blackmoney103.com. That's our entrepreneurship program. And we had a student in Black Money 103 who was trying to find ways to make more money. She was in our entrepreneurship program, and we helped her understand that when you have demand for something, that's an opportunity for you to make money. And she realized, wait a minute, I make sea moss. Everybody loves my sea moss. And so I guess the instructor said, well, maybe you can sell the sea moss instead of just giving it away. So she became more intentional about the sea moss. So she started making it and she put it on sale on Facebook. Next thing you know, people were buying it. So she made an extra $200 that week. Next thing you know, she's selling it all the time. She's making an extra $1,000 a week. Then it becomes $3,000 or $4,000 a week. Then suddenly her and her husband and her son all quit their jobs so they could sit at home making sea moss all day because it became a business. Here's my point. To move the ball forward, you have to have some degree of intentionality. So if you think about income as offense, again, go back to the analogy. You're in a football game. You're down by 5 touchdowns. Defense alone is not going to get you back in that game. Defense matters, right? Defense is like a financial, the analogy of that is if I play financial defense, that means I'm cutting my costs. I'm striking things out of my budget. I'm really leaning down. I'm not going to buy my Starbucks coffee every Tuesday because I want to save money. Well, that sucks, man. That's not fun. I never enjoyed that. I'm going to tell you all the truth. I never enjoyed having somebody tell me that the best way for me to get ahead financially was for me to make myself more miserable than I already was by having to cut things out of my life that I really enjoy. Like, seriously, I just did not enjoy that. If I go to the movies, I'm going to get the $5 popcorn with the butter and I'm going to get the Twizzlers and I'm going to get a big ass slushie. I don't want to get a small slushie to save $2 or whatever. I want the big slushie, damn it, because this is my day off, right? That's how I felt. I remember feeling that way. And here's what I figured out is that if you don't, you can, sure, you have to be financially frugal and careful or whatever to some extent, but there's the other alternative. If you pay the cost, you can be the boss, meaning that if you become intentionality is the key here. If you become intentional about increasing your income, then you will probably find ways to increase your income, which suddenly allows you to do a lot of things that you couldn't do before, right? Suddenly, when I was making an extra $100,000 a year, like with side hustles, I started speaking and selling my books and doing all the things I was doing way back in the day when I was first getting started. So I mean, maybe it wasn't even $100,000 a year. Maybe in the beginning it was like $5,000 a year or $10,000 a year, right? It just grew into more money over time because I became more intentional about it. The more intentional I became, the further I went along, right? Like a rocket that's trying to break out of the Earth's atmosphere. Y'all don't understand. The rockets are really fascinating. Rockets are basically controlled explosions. If you put too much power in it, it'll blow up. But you need enough power to have it get out of the atmosphere. In order for that rocket to break out of the atmosphere and the Earth's gravitational pull, that's what your life is. Your life is like the gravity pulling you back to the ground. It's sucking you back in, right? But in order for the rocket to escape the Earth's atmosphere, it has to be very intentional about where it's going, right? You don't see any rockets that are doing this. You don't see rockets that are kind of waving around like a rocket. A kite is not a rocket. A kite blows whichever way the wind blows, right? A rocket is like, right? 100% intentional about exactly where it's going. So what I encourage you to do is embrace the rocket lifestyle. Literally embrace the rocket ideology. The rocket ideology says, come hell or high water, do or die by any means necessary. I will make this happen. That means I'm going to take in every piece of information I can get, have every conversation I need to have, do every reflection I need to do, consider every idea, turn over every stone, spend time intentionally. This Saturday morning, I'm going to spend that time on Saturday morning being intentional about figuring out how I can learn from the people who understand how to do the thing I'm trying to learn how to do. Right? Even if I don't think I'll ever figure out how to do it, I'm going to try. I'm going to be intentional about it. Intentionality is the key to almost every damn thing you'll ever do in your life. And that will make you different from the rest of the world. Because if you look around at the people around you, if you look at the way the world operates, the world does not operate with intentionality. Most people don't have intentionality. They just go whichever way the world goes. They're doing whatever TikTok dance everybody else is doing. They're paying attention to what everybody else is paying attention to. All this other stuff. You got to be intentional. So I would say is that going back to that football analogy, if I'm down by 5 touchdowns, I know a defense is going to be important, but I know I need offense. I know I need to put more points on the board in order for me to even have a chance to win. So going back to this brother's question, which he submitted, you can submit your own question if you'd like at blackwealthconfessions.com. I'll put the URL back on the screen. I would say that maybe increasing your income is a good way for you to overcome a lot of these things. So if I'm you, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, college gives you one way to increase your income because they give you this degree that helps you go out and get a mediocre job. But there's something better than college. There's a higher level to the floor. There's a higher floor in the building. There's a higher there's a penthouse floor that they never told you about, and that's Millionaires Row. That's where the real ballers, the people, the real bosses, the people that actually make real money actually go to get their real education. So one of the things I can tell you that I discovered, and I had a PhD. I mean, my God, if anybody should know all this stuff, it should be me. I knew it in theory, but I didn't know it in practice. I had to literally go back to school. I had to say, who I am right now is not good enough. What I'm doing right now is not working. The strategy I've used to this point has not got me to where I want to be. I need to be re-educated. I have been brainwashed into a way of thinking that is not putting me where I want to be. So you got to humble yourself to do that. Stop thinking you know everything. You don't know shit. If you're not where you want to be, you don't know nothing. If you're not where you want to be in life, you're like a newborn baby who hasn't been educated on anything. And you have to treat yourself that way and start taking in information and knowledge from individuals that have proven that they have been to or can get you to the place that you want to be. Do you understand what I'm saying? Give me a yes in the chat if you follow what I'm saying. I hope this all makes sense. Okay. All right. So that's it, guys. I had a couple things I wanted to say about that. I got to get back to talking about nurturing relationships. I got to get back with my wife. We're going to go running because, health is wealth and all that stuff. And I don't want to get fat. And so don't forget, if you go to boycewatkins.com, you can actually come to the event that Jay Morrison and I are having on the 23rd called Secrets of the 1%. It's totally free. So feel free to pop in, and it's all about capital and the use of capital and credit and business in order to expand and accelerate where you want to be economically. It's some good game. Jay has proven that he knows things other people don't know, because I don't know a single person anywhere who from a grassroots level has been able to go and create an SEC approved crowdfunding campaign that raised $11.5 million. And one of the benefits of that campaign is this beautiful building called the Black House, which to me is a Black university. That's a Black owned university. And I got an office there. I said, I support you, brother. I want to see you win. So I immediately said, I don't care what the rent is. I want an office in your building because I want people to know that I'm supporting what you're supporting, period, because we've got to find ways to win. We went through institutions. We went through structure. We went through building. We don't win through whining and complaining and looking for jobs. We've tried that for 200 years. It ain't working. So let's go to another level. Okay. Got it. We good? We good? All right. So boycewatkins.com, or if you're on Instagram, just click the link in the bio and it's right there. When will you be back in London? As soon as all these mandates are over. When the mandates are over, I'm coming back to London because I love Black London and I love y'all very much. And I want you to know that. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Have a good day. Hit the thumbs up button on your way out, please. And I will talk to you all soon. Be good. Take care. Peace.